I welcome you all to LMHI Global Colloquium 2021. I would also like to acknowledge our session coordinators, moderators, and chairpersons. Starting with session coordinators, we have Gauri Chawla and Srishti Sudan with us. I also welcome Dr. Chesta and Dr. B. Thankraj as our moderators for the session. I request our moderators to please invite our chairpersons and take over the dais. Over to you, Doctor. Thank you.
Medicine is a dynamic field that medicine is a dynamic field that mandates continual innovation and improvement. So does medical education. Apart from the conventional training involving the preclinical, the clinical subjects, now the emphasis is on skill development, research aptitude, and understanding data science and statistics as well in medical education. India is becoming the global hub for homeopathic education and training. But there are lots of challenges which need to be addressed in order to upgrade homeopathic education, research, and practice in India. The country's health needs have changed significantly post-COVID-19. Changes are likely to be far-reaching. In this changing and demanding scenario, what should be the roadmap to revitalize homeopathic education in the coming times? This is what we would be discussing in today's session. The theme of today's session is improving education, practice, and research. So, taking the session forward, we have our first speaker with us, that is Dr. Divya Taneja. Dr. Divya is a research officer with the Central Council for Research in Homeopathy, India. The topic for her presentation is Challenges Before Homeopathy. Over to you, Dr. Divya.
Greetings, everybody. And we have all discussed challenges quite a number of times. But what I have here is a short presentation where I've tried to compile challenges that the profession faces and to see the way forward to move ahead so that we can overcome these challenges in the years to come. So talking about homeopathy in India, we know that we have a very strong institutional framework, and that is not a challenge for us in India. So this is the background or the base on which we are starting. We have the Ministry of Ayush in place, which has come up with the regulations and which has provided ample support for development of research, educational institutes, drug regulations, and regulation of practice both in the public and the private sector. And the new National Commission for Homeopathy has further progressed on how this system is going to move forward infrastructurally and on the basis of quality of practice and education in the country. So this is the background that we already have, which is already existing. And now what we need to look at are the challenges that the system is facing. Now, looking at education, practice, research, we cannot function in silos. Research ultimately has to translate into practice in education. It is the practice in education which gives the basics, foundation on which the research needs to be built up further. And ultimately, if it is not leading to public benefit, then this is of no use at all. And that is where the concept of responsible research or quality in practice or education comes in. So what is important is how this is moving towards the benefit for public. Now, as far as Science of Homeopathy is concerned, we have this coming up in July 2013 issue of Homeopathy, that the therapeutic model of homeopathy consistently achieves excellence in clinical outcomes, excellent results in clinical outcomes and health gains. And we have to admit that despite evidence of high activity of dilution in general and homeopathic medicines in particular, which only a plausibility bias, a degree of intellectual dishonesty or willful ignorance can deny, we have to admit that homeopathic therapeutic process is a black box. We do understand that the therapeutic process is a black box, but it is true for all therapeutic methods. And what is important is that we have to move ahead from here. There is a science behind homeopathy, and there is a science of homeopathy. When we look at science behind homeopathy, that is the area where we get maximum criticism. be it the principles of homeopathy, be it the potentization or working on high dilutions. Now, what is very, very important for us to understand is that the same philosophical debates which worked in the 19th century or the 18th century will not work in today's day when there has been so much of scientific advancement all across. So when where the mankind has moved on to space, we cannot stick on to the same philosophical debates that we had at that point of time. And what we need is mathematical proofs for action. So be it active ingredient, be it pharmacological transformation or biological properties of high dilution. And that is where the basic research has to focus upon. And at the same time, there is the science of homeopathy, which is unfortunately is a reason for a lot of dissonance amongst the homeopaths, because when we are talking about similimum, the three homeopaths together may come up with three different remedies, and probably all of them are correct without realizing that probably one of them is correct and the rest are partially correct, or all three of them are partially correct. So what is needed is to break the barriers of dissonance and come up with means or mathematical ways of coming on to similimum or the best suited potency or dosage determination or application of medicine. So what we are actually looking for is probably a unified theory as far as homeopathy is concerned. But let's see how we can actually, the works which is being done and what has been presented over the last 2 days within the conference, can it actually lead on to this barriers that we face, is what is important for all of us to understand. So, be it drug research, be it clinical research, or be it basic research, the research per se becomes challenging when we are looking at the concept with which we look at disease, the which we look at health. And when we are trying to fit homeopathy into the conventional framework of understanding of disease, then things become even more difficult at times. Because what we are dealing with is multimorbidities, what we are dealing with the studies that are high on internal validity, but at the same time, we need to understand that once the outcome comes, there has to be a very high external validity of the study, or reproducibility of results, or replicability of results. So the challenges come up at all stages, be it at the time of conception of a study to actually conducting the study in the terms of study designs, or coming on to the statistical aspects of the study, and then the outcomes become equally difficult for us in terms of their clinical utility at times or conflicting results that we come across. So, and once the studies are conducted, what we realize is a dearth of journals to publish studies, a dearth of quality publications, both of them. Once we have a good study, then the available journals, if you look at it, the directory of open access of journals, it has got just IGRH, Review Study Homeopathia, International Journal of Advanced Ayurveda. So looking at it, the homeopathy per se journal in English is only one. The rest are all CAM. There would be a number of CAM journals, but when you're looking at homeopathy journals per se, we realize that we really have very few journals which are of a very high quality standards. And looking at Scopus again, we have just homeopathy in Indian Journal of Research in Homeopathy, which are English language journals. Again, in Web of Science, it's only homeopathy. And with just 4 issues, just about 8 to 10 articles, then the number of publications, only a very high-end publication will get published here, and a lot of work, therefore, might go unpublished. At the same time, we have to face a level of publication bias, which has been repeatedly identified. Then there are conflicts of interest. There could be research, or there could be publications only for the sake of publication. So what is important is working at the level of public benefit. If it is not for public benefit, then probably there is a level of conflict of interest which needs to be taken care of. And what is important here, and that is what brings us to a responsible conduct for research. Now, moving on from research to education and practice, what is important is to break this wall where there could be research outcomes in the form of primary and secondary literature. But what we need to see is it actually this research is getting translated into treatment of patients or confidence level of practitioners or of students? And are we really able to discard the redundant ideas and practices, and acceptance of high level of recommendations? Is it actually being accepted within the practices? Equally important for us to understand. Now, what I have is a small example. If you look at it, if you look at pediatric diarrhea, a number of RCTs have been conducted. There's been a meta-analysis, there's been systematic review. There's an RCT which says that the single medicines have been very useful, whereas there's an RCT which says that the combination has not been useful. The studies have been conducted in all parts of the world, be it Nicaragua, be it Nepal, and then this has been analyzed systematically as well. We look at India, we realize that there has been open multicentric studies, there has been unicentric studies, there have been multicentric placebo-controlled studies, and there's been a public health intervention as well on more than 11,000 children. And all of them have been published in quality literature has been published. And then when we look at it, that's in spite of that, there are major barriers, and then there are minor barriers which do not allow research to be translated into publics. Now, this is just one example of diarrhea, but if we look at probably the barriers that are there, the barriers are everywhere. That the practitioners are, not very sure of the effectiveness, safety. This may pertain to the data may pertain to the study conducted in US in New York, but what is important is that somewhere this is true for all parts of the world. So, what is important is combining research, practice, and education so that this research literature this that has generated actually moves on and builds up the capacity of practitioners and the manpower which is coming in into research, so that we are able to create better linkages between researchers and practitioners, as which ultimately gets translated into education for the new practitioners who are coming up in the field. The resources are a constraint, be it IT resources, be it infrastructure or institutions, but they are certain resources which need to be, which only time will overcome once we have the capacity and the research literature generated. So this is one publication that CCRH came up with in April 2021, which is the Good Clinical Practice Guidelines for Clinical Trials in Homeopathy, which lays the foundation of which combines the GCP, international GCP guidelines to take care of the uniqueness of homeopathy and what are the requirements of a protocol, what are the requirements for drug, the ethical committees, the sponsor responsibilities, investigator responsibilities. So a large part of it is from the GCP guide, international GCP, but at the same time, the uniqueness of homeopathy or the way the research can be conducted for pharmacopoeial drugs, or how the research which is being conducted on new drugs is going to differ. And what are the different sets of requirements for both of these? They have been highlighted here. CCRH also has the Indian Journal of Research in Homeopathy, which is available for quality publications, be it from the researchers and then bringing it back to the practitioners. And what is important is that it is an online open access journal. So the possibility of access for this journal is very, very high. And this has now moved on to Research Commons, which has taken over the publication of this IJRH. And we have abstracts coming up in multiple languages in this particular journal. Then there are a couple of schemes that CCRH operates, the studentship schemes, and then there are memorandums of understandings with educational institutions, coming up with standard treatment guidelines for a number of clinical conditions, 3 volumes of which have been published, and then they are in the process of revisions as well, and it's open to feedback as well. Then there is an archive of homeopathy, which is opening up the research library that we have in CCRH, and the whatever documentation in homeopathy is possible has been brought up here. Then there has already been a presentation on the homeopathic clinical case repository, which is actually the practitioner input into the research. Because what we realize is that there is a lot of dissonance. There could be the homeopathy that we call as homeopathy could be clinical, complex, biochemics, isopathy. There could be specializations. There are multiple scales to prescribe. There are various ways of prescribing. Everybody is correct. But then what are the best possible practices? What is it that we are going to give to the future generations? Or what is it, how my work is going to influence the practice of others, so that the quality of practice as a whole for the profession rises, is very, very important. And that is one of the major objectives of HCCR portal. So what is important is how we are positioning ourselves when we are practicing or when we are working. We could be working at primary care, we could be working at an integrated level, we could be working at an palliative care level. What we need to understand is, and what we need to really appreciate is that there is a level of skill that is required at each levels, and that skill is going to be very, very varied. So based on that skill, based on the availability of resources, based on the infrastructural requirements, we need to position ourselves and do our best possible, at the same time bringing it out in the form of publications or bringing it into the electronic database, so that we, instead of a divided homeopathic groups into isopathies or classicals or non-classicals or biochemic prescribers, or we are actually working to identify a unify how homeopathy can be united be it at the level of research, at the level of practice, so that we can move on to the benefit for public. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation and moving on to the moderators of the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tavya, for the lucid presentation. You have raised real valid points in your presentation. Any of the panelists, if they have any questions for Dr. Divya?
Thank you, Dr. Divya, for the presentation. There must be some close coordination with CCRH and the new National Homeopathy Commission. For that, the research methodologies could be incorporated more into the BHMS curriculum. So it's there in the postgraduate curriculum, but the students should develop some interest, some sort of interest while they're doing their graduation itself. So that will help more of the budding homeopaths to take up the field of research.
Absolutely. I think you have a very valid point here, because the way we are taught other subjects at the graduation level,
Yes, yeah.
and introduction to research is equally important.
Yes.
STSH was a beginning, and hopefully over the years, we might come up with better approaches for this.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll take your feedback back to CCRH.
Yeah. Also, the students should have access to the standard journals. We have many in homeopathy, but barring I think IGRH, we don't have any, or maybe homeopathy. But other than that, we don't have any standard journal. So the students should get access also. Maybe in few colleges, maybe in metros, the colleges in metros can have access to those journals. But it shouldn't be like that, and there must be more opportunities for students.
I think coming up with library consortiums,
Yeah,
a consortium between the
yeah.
educational institutions, so that if
Mhm.
the one institution has it, it moves on to other institutions as well, is something which is very important, that the educational institutes themselves need to identify. But other than that, Directory of Open Access Journals has journals in about thousands. So there's no dearth of open access journals, and DOAJ is very, very stringent in its specifications that the journals are, of very high quality standards. So
But
starting from there, yeah.
But unless these things are there in the curriculum, nobody takes it. Just to be frank, since I'm a teacher.
Yeah, I can understand that. So at the level of an undergraduate curriculum, till
Yeah.
the research becomes an important
Yeah,
component,
definitely,
that scientific input doesn't come in the way
Yes,
other subjects
definitely.
right from early years of practice. So I think the research and the education, they really need to go hand in hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Divya. Moving ahead, we have our next speaker with us, Dr. Yon Fok. She is from China, and she would be presenting. Yeah, she would be presenting with us today the potential of modern statistics in homeopathy. Rethink about our repertories with the Cliffy-Call data. Over to you, Dr. Yon.
Yeah, thank you. Because we have quite a lot of Chinese audience for this section, so I'm going to have this section bilingual. So thank you for the organizers to giving us such an opportunity to share.
多謝大家俾呢個機會我係同大家分享嘅。
And the topic today is the potential of modern statistics in homeopathy to rethink about our repertory with the clinical data.
今日嘅 topic 咧係講關於現代系統香港對順勢療法嘅意義，以 critical 嘅數據反思療劑嘅匯集。
So if you have heard about Alex's seminar on the day one, you would have heard about our clinical cases in China, which is we include 363 patients of COVID cases.
如果你第一日有收睇呢個Alex 嘅講座嘅話咧，你就會知道中國咧就有363名嘅 COVID 嘅病者。
And I'm not going to talk about Yersinia membryonia anymore.
我唔會再講呢一個黃素馨同埋社根。
But we will focus on phosphorus.
我哋咧會集中係講喺呢一個輪嘅。
So we got 7 cases of phosphorus in mainland China.
我哋有7個輪嘅個案。
And 4 of them are female, while 3 of them are male.
有3個咧係男性，有4個咧係女性。
And the average age is 48.
平均歲數咧就係48。
And 5 of them are confirmed, while 2 of them are suspected.
有5個個案咧係證實嘅，有2個咧就係懷疑個案。
And then majority of the patient would come to us at day 15 or 30.
大部分嘅病人咧都係15至到30日嚟揾我哋嘅。
And 4 of them are of moderate severity, while 3 of them are mild.
有4個咧係中等個嚴重程度嘅，有3個咧係輕微嘅。
And if we consider the average number of rubrics, there are about 23 rubrics per prescription.
如果我哋考慮平均選項嘅數目咧，就有23，每一個處方都有23個 rubrics。
And we need to define the success for phosphorus. And I defined it as fast recovery equals to no missing data at day 1, 2, 3. The Oridor is more than or equal to 2 at day 3. And the Oridor is more than or equal to 3 at day 7.
論有效嘅定義咧，快速恢復嘅話咧，就冇缺失任何一個數據啦。第1、第3、第7日啦。咁啊，第3咧就 Oridor， 第3日嘅 Oridor 咧係大過或者等於3，第7日嘅 Oridor 咧係大過或者等於3嘅。
And you can see in these certain cases, except one of them, other cases are success.
睇到呢度7個個案啦，第一個咧係 fail 嘅，6個咧係成功嘅。
And what are the common repertorization symptoms in these 6 fast recovery cases?
有啲乜嘢嘅共同嘅選項喺呢一個6個 case 裏邊咧？
So we can see these are the symptoms that appear in 100% of the cases.
我哋睇到呢度全部嘅嗰個選項都係喺100% 喺呢啲6個個案裏邊有嘅。
Which include better from cold drinks, involuntary irritation during cough, and cough is aggravated when they lie on the left, and the cough is aggravated in talking. There is tickling in larynx. There is infrequent sputum. The fever is alternating with a chill. And there is amelioration from after perspiration and amelioration after sleep.
我會睇到冷飲舒緩啦，咁就心跳加重啦，咳嗽嘅時候，咁啊咳嗽咧瞓喺左邊咧就會加重，講嘢嘅時候會加重啦，喉嚨發痕啦，咁就罕見嘅痰啦，咁就發燒咧就會係冷熱交替嘅，咁啊出汗咧會舒緩啦，瞓覺會舒緩嘅。
And these are the less common, less frequent rubrics. However, they're not. They're still quite common, in fact, and that include the wet weather aggravation, desire for company, fear of coughing. The cough is aggravated during the deep breath, and there's fear of death, and there is throat pain aggravated during cough.
雖然咧有啲症狀咧唔係100%啦，但係都係出現嘅頻率都高嘅，就有呢一個潮濕天氣加重啦，陪伴渴望陪伴啦，恐懼咳嗽啦，深呼吸會加重啦，恐懼死亡同埋喉嚨擦損嘅。
So if it is in our clinic that we see these 6 patients, what would you do with them?
如果我哋嘅診所裏邊見到有6個輪嘅個案嘅話，你會點做咧？
What would be in our mind would be all of these frequently seen rubrics are useful phosphorus rubrics.
喺我腦裏邊咧，所有嘅經常出現嘅項目咧，都係同輪有關嘅項目喎。
And if you agree with that, then you are applying the causal thinking.
如果你同意嘅話，你咧就係應用緊呢一個因果嘅思維。
And it is not only majority of us that is applying the causal thinking, but that was also how our repertories were made.
唔係大部分嘅人咧都係咁樣諗，而我哋嘅 repertory 咧就係咁樣編寫出嚟㗎啦。
And this way is used by Kent and many others.
呢個方法，阿 Ken 同埋其他人都係咁樣做嘅。
But what if we can also see all the cases?
如果我哋可以見到所有嘅 case， 咁又點咧？
Maybe we can start with the mind symptoms.
我哋可以開始由呢個精神症狀嘅睇出。
These 3 mind rubrics appear in more than 80% of the cases in phosphorus. And then I calculate the base rate. Base rate means how often these rubrics appear in those cases which have fast recovery but not from phosphorus.
我哋睇到呢3個嘅 rubrics 咧喺輪裏邊咧出現率係最高嘅。咁咧就 base rate 咧其實係其他嘅療劑係同埋處方呢個療劑係快速痊癒嘅。
And then we apply some statistical tests. What we should apply is Fisher exact test. And then the p-value of all of these are highly significant.
咁我哋應用呢一個統計學嚟計啦，咁個 p-value 咧係有效嘅。
And then we go into the general symptoms.
我哋咧就去呢一個一般症狀。
You can see these symptoms are very highly prevalent in our phosphorus case, varies from 80% to 100%.
我哋會睇到輪嗰個percentage 咧就係38.3，咁咧就去到100%嘅。
And then in the base rate, it varies from 0.6 to 90 something.
我哋咧就睇到 base rate 咧就係0.6啦，去到90幾個%嘅。
And when we apply the statistical test again, then we will see actually not all of them are statistically significant.
我哋咧又再apply 落去呢個 p-value 度啦，咁我哋見到有啲咧都唔係咁科學性咁差異嘅，咁差異大嘅。
We can see like fever alternative of chills, general perspiration, amelioration after perspiration, and aggravation from wet weather, they are not that significant.
我哋睇到啦，發燒交替、冷熱交替啦，同埋出汗咧舒緩啦，同埋潮濕嘅天氣加重，我哋見到佢哋咧嘅差異性唔係好大嘅。
And when we go into the particular symptoms,
當我哋去到呢個局部症狀，
and these are the symptoms which appear in 100% of the phosphorus case.
呢啲嘅症狀都係喺輪嘅症狀嗰度咧，都係出現咗100% 嘅。
And then when we compare to the base rate, it varies from 0.3% to 95%.
當我哋比較呢個 base rate 嘅話咧，係0.3至到去90幾個%嘅。
And then we apply the statistical test again.
同樣我哋係apply 落去呢個統計學裏邊嘅話，
then we will see that 3 of them are not statistically significant.
咁我哋睇到呢3個症狀咧係唔係咁有效，咁差異性大嘅。
And that include involuntary urine during cough, tickling in larynx, and infrequent sputum.
咳嗽咧就係呢個滲尿加重啦，同埋呢一個喉嚨發痕啦，同埋罕見嘅咳。
And then we also look into some particular rubrics which do not appear as frequent, which got a percentage in phosphorus of 50% to 70%.
我哋再睇下有啲呢一個嘅局部症狀唔係出現得咁多嘅，就有50%至到66%。
And then we also look into the base rate.
咁我哋都係再比較下呢一個 base rate 啊。
And then we apply the statistical test again.
我哋再應用呢一個嘅系統學啊。
And then we can see for this less common rubrics, when we use the statistical test, actually they are more statistically significant. So for the cases with 100% appearance, they may not be significant, but the cases with lower frequency, they may be more significant.
你哋睇到咧呢個比較低啲嘅 frequency 嘅症狀啦，咁如果係用呢一個統計學咁差異性都幾大下嘅。
So what we want to rethink is perhaps only the symptoms with a rate that is significantly different from the base rate are the real potential phosphorus symptoms.
我哋諗下，只有發生率同埋基本率咧顯著唔同嘅症狀，先至有機會係輪嘅症狀。
And the analogy is like this picture.
我哋睇下呢個嘅圖像。
When we see phosphorus, and then we will say like, oh, phosphorus is characterized by the dark blue dots.
我哋睇下呢個輪嘅症狀，輪嘅畫面，咁咧就藍色嗰啲藍色嗰啲 dot 咧就係輪嘅症狀啦。
But in fact, what we can see the whole picture, the dark blue dots are actually the characteristics of the whole picture.
我哋睇下成個 picture 啦，咁嗰啲原來嗰啲深藍色嘅點點咧，其實係所有係成個 picture 嚟嘅。
And in statistics, that is what we call the base rate fallacy.
我哋喺統計學嚟講咧，呢個就係叫做基礎比率嘅謬誤。
So whether we are looking at the rubrics of phosphorus or the rubrics for in general or the COVID cases.
或者我哋睇呢一個輪嘅症狀啊，或者係其他唔同嘅 case 就或者係呢個 COVID 嘅 case 啊。
And then the next question is what should be added in our repertory?
下一個問題就係我哋應該要加啲咩選項落去我哋嘅療劑匯集度咧
？Should we add those rubrics where there's high frequency and then their percentage is much higher than the base rate? But also the ones with high frequency, but when we compare to the base rate, they're similar. And we also need to think about the third group, which is they do not appear that frequent. However, their percentage is much higher than the base rate.
我哋考慮三個群組啊，咁啊一啲咧就係常出現嘅啦，而且比率係高嘅，定係出現率係高嘅，但係咧就係佢個機會嗰個機率咧係相似嘅。咁唔太常出現嘅話，咁但係比機率係高嘅，咁又點咧？
So this kind of thinking would lead us back to Hahnemann. In his organon in the Floriform 153, he mentioned about the SLP symptoms.
咁去到呢個 organon 咧153條啦，咁就關於呢個奇特嘅症狀。
This principle, now we think that it should not be only applied when we diagnose patient, but we may also need to bear that in mind when we like putting the rubrics into our repertory.
呢個奇特嘅症狀唔單止喺我哋診症嗰陣時係需要啦，咁我哋應該咧放呢一個嘅rubrics 落去呢個 repertory 嘅時候都要係考慮到嘅。
And that is what I mean by statistical thinking.
呢個就係我嘅意思係咩叫做係統計思維。
And it is different from our more normal causal thinking.
呢個咧就係同呢一個嘅因果思維係唔同嘅。
It is more boring, is less intuitive,
係較冇趣同埋唔係按直覺嘅。
and it can only be applied when we have more data from our practice. Ideally, it should be from like a wide spectrum of practitioners.
之後，當我哋獲得更多真實嘅數據嘅時候咧，咁先至會可以應用到。如果可以嘅話咧，呢啲數據盡量係嚟自廣泛唔同嘅醫生。
And that is the importance of a case registry project like Clinical.
呢個咧就係點解個案註冊工作咧係咁重要㗎啦，正如進行緊嘅 critical。
And with Clinical, you can have more structured data from other practitioners.
用呢個 critical 嘅話，你就可以從醫生嗰邊咧就獲得更多結構性嘅數據。
And then we can all benefit from our collective experience.
我哋咧就可以用呢個集體經驗咧中就可以獲得受益啦。
And we really want to share and talk with all of you, and that is why we organize different webinars regularly.
我哋真係好想同你哋分享好多㗎，咁所以咧我哋咧就會有常規嘅 webinar。
And my topic today is actually quite light, but we have even more interesting topic using the data that we have collected from homeopaths all over the world.
我哋今日嘅演講咧係比較短嘅，咁咧就我哋想更加有趣嘅 topic 咧就同大家去分享嘅。
So if you're interested, please do join us in January 13.
如果你有興趣嘅話，喺1月咧13號就請你 join 我哋啊。
And that is the end of my presentation. And I want to give thank you to all of our supporters, especially LMHI.
呢個咧就係我最後嘅呢個就係我嘅 presentation 啦。咁我特別係要鳴謝LMHI 嘅。
Thank you for your
多謝
attention.
大家。
CPD
CPT 係 HF156F。
CPD 係 HF156F。
Thank you, Dr. Yonfok, for the presentation. Thank you for sharing the informative presentation regarding the clinical data collection.
Thank you, Dr. Yoon, for the presentation. Could you please share with us your experience in managing COVID cases here in China?
You mean my personal experience or research experience?
Your personal experience.
Personal experience. If you have heard about Alex's presentation, in our region, I mean, in Hong Kong, I am in Hong Kong. So it's like a very tiny spot in mainland China, in China. And then we only got like the first 2 waves, and we do not have any other waves. And during that time, actually, we were in quite chaos because we are the first patch that see the COVID cases, and all around the world there's still no cases. So that is why we start collecting the first series of cases, and now I have published the first case series of COVID patient in the journal Homeopathy, which is our first 18 cases. And then from the first 30-40 cases, then we slowly formulate, not slowly actually, we try our best to rush and then formulate the questionnaire
which include the common symptoms of our patients. We choose the top 150 symptoms and then formulate a questionnaire and then distribute among our practitioners. And then we start collecting data. The questionnaire was in fact like they can choose the common symptoms, or they can also enter free entry of free text, so that we can get any new symptoms that is not on the list. And then we start entering the case into clinical. And if you are talking about experience, I think Geosemium and Bryonia are really taking care of like 90% of our case. So personally, I do not maybe I do not see cases in hospital. We are not allowed to do so, but it is really not that difficult at that time because of the two remedy.
Okay, thank you. And so Dr. Cheshire, can you follow up on the next speaker?
Next we have Dr. Perinaz Humranwala. She is a consultant homeopath from Mumbai, India, and she would be speaking on prescribing made easy temperament approach. Welcome, Dr. Perinaz.
Thank you. Can I please share my screen?
Yes, ma'am, you can share your screen. It's visible, ma'am. You can go ahead.
Right. So each human being is unique and different. Each one of us arrives in this world with our own set of traits. These traits are often a blend of our forebearers, but we are not exactly the copy of the same. A shy and a quiet mother might be amazed to find that she has the most mischievous, argumentative, and aggressive child. Born of the same mother, two siblings could be in exact contrast despite having the same upbringing, same state of mind of the mother, the diet, as well as the environment. It was 400 years BC that Hippocrates first found that over and above the physical features, the physical problems of a person, there's something that's unique and different about human beings. And he called it as blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. It was in 149 AD that Galen started calling it sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. And then Dr. Hahnemann and the others took into it, and we have research coming on from all these authors mentioned here. I remember that as a college student, when I opened Allen's keynotes, and the pulsatilla, it said adapted to persons of indecisive, slow, phlegmatic temperament. Honestly, friends, little did I understand what phlegmatic temperament meant at that time. And then when I would read Lachesis, I would find it said persons of a melancholic temperament, dark eyes, and a disposition of low spirits and indolence. Women of choleric temperament. I wondered, how can there be a melancholic temperament and a choleric temperament coexisting in one remedy? But once again, I didn't know what temperament was. So then, friends, what is temperament? Temperament is the characteristic combination of bodily, mental, and moral qualities which together constitute the character and disposition of an individual and predispose him to act and behave in a particular manner. If we go to the footnote under aphorism 213, we have it written very clearly there, where Hahnemann mentions, thus, aconite will seldom or never effect either a rapid or permanent cure in a patient of a quiet, calm, equable disposition. Just as little will Nakswamika be serviceable when the disposition is mild and phlegmatic. Pulsatilla, where it is happy, gay, and obstinate, or ignitia, where it is imperturbable and disposed neither to be frightened nor to be vexed. So Hahnemann also thought of it in great detail at that time.
Human beings are very expressive. They laugh at a joke. They cry when hurt. They think about themselves and also about others. They seek revenge when they are angry. and some sing a song when happy. Some talk about things, tell stories, while some listen to others' worries. Many are proud of their success, and some jealous of others' progress. They can be someone's best buddy, and even the bitterest enemy. Some agree with each other, and at times opinions differ. Man is a rational animal, but understanding him is not simple. Different people have different temperaments. Temperaments play a big role in influencing our day-to-day behavior.
What are the different temperaments? Choleric, nervous, phlegmatic, melancholic, and sanguine. My journey with temperaments began, and our research began about 20 years ago, friends, where I realized that there were certain repertories like Nair repertory or Clark repertory. Nair to be specific. I went on from there to see the different remedies which were put under each temperament. All the common symptoms belonging to each of these remedies was elicited. Thereafter, I decided to find out other remedies which had the same symptoms but were not entered into that rubric. Thereafter, I went to Kent's repertory, and under Kent's repertory, each and every rubric and sub-rubric was analyzed, and whether the rubric was choleric or a mixed trait was exactly found. I'm very thankful to Dr. Jawar Shah, who helped me with my research software, which helped me to correlate my knowledge of temperaments from the materia medica into the repertory. This went on to become first a book, and then later on it turned into a software, which is with Zomeo now. Let me just tell you a few rubrics of choleric. Choleric person is a person who is very competitive. They are go-getters. They are ambitious. They are people who are very sly. They are people who are deceitful, who are extremely shrewd. They are people who are very stubborn, headstrong. It's either their way or the highway. They are very quick at decisions, and they have an extremely keen intellect. They are born leaders. They are dictatorial, they are dominating, domineering, and even demanding. In contrast to that, we have another temperament, which is the phlegmatic temperament. The phlegmatic temperament is lazy and slow-moving, a couch potato. They are always laid back and take life very easy. They are happy and contented the way the life moves. They are non-competitive, and they are restless, routinistic with whatever they do. Being very yielding and being very timid, they are very servile at work, and they are very eager to obey people. The good part about them is they are very nicely family oriented, spend a lot of time with their kids, and take time out for their children too. In a nutshell, you will have the melancholic, which is sensitive, sacrificing, and courageous, perfectionist, responsible, and trustworthy. The nervous, who is anxious, pre-prepared. The sanguine, which has got cheerful and has got no grudges. Each temperament can be explained in great detail, but due to paucity of time, I move ahead. I show you a case of varicose ulcers. This is a shopkeeper aged 50 years who stood 12 to 13 hours a day since the last 35 years. He has varicose veins since 10 years and persistent non-healing varicose ulcers since the last 5 years. Painful, itching, oozing, needs dressing daily. Itching ameliorated after passing stool. This is the varicose ulcer for you to see. This is on one leg. This is the next leg. Associated complaints of importance are pain in the knees, worse from standing and better by walking. The abdomen feels heavy and full, which is worse from sour food and pickles. He stays with his family. He works all through the week and takes no holidays. Strangely, he tells me, I like to work as it gives me no time for friendship. When I had friends, I felt jealous of them. They were not capable, but are doing so well, and I could not. Makes me feel rather unfortunate. Earlier, When he mingled with them, he would rebuke them. He would insult them by saying that they do not deserve what they have got. The friends would feel offended and offended about his comments, to which they felt were very unjustified. He wanted to be a doctor as he loved zoology and biology, but he received no proper guidance that came from his parents. Feeling of jealousy related to business or smaller shops did better. Fear of heights, can't look down from the 4th floor. Extremely loquacious natured, loud speaking to his customers, always smiling and joking. When students do not get admission in colleges because they did not belong to the scheduled caste, he feels bad about it. He asks, when the intern asks who guides you, he says, my soul, it directs me what is right and wrong. I requested him that he needs to take complete bed rest for them to heal faster, to which he said, every doctor said that, but I don't think I have the time nor the inclination. So friends, the expert system in which there is a temperas evaluation, which gives me the final, the temperament quotient of the patient. The temperas materia medica is found where from each master materia medica, which I have gone through at least 20 to 25 materia medicas, and each remedy, each symptom from there is qualified as to which temperament is goes under, and thereafter a marking has been given. There is a repertory attached with it. So a person is generally known how he describes himself, or sometimes how his friends describe him, sometimes how a family member describes him, how he is at work, his assets and his liabilities. Here what we do is they summarize this man. This is a man who is jealous, who is workaholic, who is egoistic, and who is anxious. And the Mays remedy that I get here, the temperament quotient is he is highly choleric. From here, if I just take these symptoms, stool ameliorated after, sour acids aggravate, fear of high places, jealousy and loquacity. And now I institute again the filter. And in the filter, I use choleric. And now I have these remedies with me. In these remedies, as you see, jealousy being the main feature, I would now think, though lachesis seems to be flying off the page, I need to consider and see whether Nux vomica walks in any way. And here, friends, is my, so when I have jealousy here, I have tried to give other parallel rubrics which we could possibly use, which we often miss out. And here we have the rubric, jealousy, insults driving to, remedy being Nux vomica. I have also used other repertories. And as you see in the other repertory, Alan insults jealousy from, and we again have Nux vomica. Now, the best test that you can put the temperaments to is, don't use a single mental, just use physical symptoms of the case as I have done over here. And then I have used again, just one choleric as the filter. And friends, as you see, Nux vomica is right here in the very beginning. The materia medica, which has been classified, all these remedies have been sectioned like this, where as you see, if you read under boric, you will see scolds and insults others from jealousy. Nux vomica 201 dose was prescribed and repeated once more after 3 months. The ulcers healed completely in 6 months. And no local application was used, nor did the man take any rest. This is where we began, friends. After a few months, and then when it healed completely on one leg, the second leg, this is where we began. This is after a few months, and this is when it healed completely. So friends, if you have the patient and the temperament, the remedy and the temperament, going to the similibum is then a very easy task. What then are the advantages of using temperaments in practice? Temperaments, friends, is a mental general. Temperament quotient can be used as a filter. We are here able to reach the most appropriate rubric with different choices given. Management of the patient is easier if we know the temperament. If you are going to tell a nervous patient that your report suggests you have a cancer, you are cautioned enough that you need to take care about the same. Understanding the patient's actions and reactions based on the temperament combination. Understanding the remedy, its actions and its reactions. It has helped me to differentiate each individual one from the other. It has helped in differentiating each remedy one from the other. Friends, by using temperaments, it has helped me tremendously in my practice and has given me excellent good results. Thank you. In case you have any queries, my email is displayed here. You can get in touch with me later. I'm sorry, because of paucity of time, I'm not able to take you on further. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perinas. Thank you for the descriptive presentation and sharing such a wonderful case with all of us.
Thank you, Dr. Perinas. Yes, Dr. Chester, please.
Some of the attendees have put up a question, if we may ask Dr. Perinas.
Sure.
Ma'am, there's a question that when we talk about temperament, should we consider the general natural tendency of the person or change from the natural tendency during the disease?
Temperaments is something which is inborn. What changes is your personality. The difference between temperament and personality is very clear. Personality is what you're in the boardroom, like the ones we are sitting right here, okay, all decked up and ready and presenting ourselves to our best. Whereas temperament is what you really are in your bathroom. That person never changes. It's like your thumbprint. In other words, if I may say, if you have 4 portraits of Hahnemann made from clay, from porcelain, from alabaster, from gold, all of them would be Hahnemann, but the raw material differs. Our raw material never changes. Temperament is something what you're born with. What changes is, with the medicine, the positives of the temperament increase and the negatives decrease.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the explanation. Do we have any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Perinas, for that very interesting presentation, ma'am. It's a great learning experience every time we hear your presentation each and every time. Thank you, ma'am.
Moving ahead, we have our next speaker, Dr. Kishore N. Mehta. He's a senior teacher. He's called the teacher of the teachers and a senior practicing homeopath from Maharashtra, India. And the topic for discussion today is Renaissance or Reformation. Over to you, Dr. Mehta.
Can I start my sharing?
Yes, sir, you can start.
So, my topic is improving education, practice and research. But my focus is mainly on education since I've been educationist since years. And now, see, in India, the whole India, our country is a global hub of homeopathy. The present scenario of homeopathy in India, there are lakhs of practitioners, national and international fame, thousands of teachers, hundreds of homeopathic medical colleges evolved in last 50 years, from postal training to diploma to graduate to postgraduate and PhD also. Maximum clinical experiences, lots of research work done in India, highest data collection and literature and educate of modern technology, extraordinary success in incurable cases like cancer, you just now saw one of the cases, autoimmune diseases, genetic disorders and innumerable diseases, remarkable success in epidemic and pandemic disease like malaria, dengue and lastly COVID-19. Satisfactory research work in clinical conditions like autism, thyroid, renal and autoimmune. But there are problems also that the doctor who passes newly from the college, his lack of confidence, even sometimes after a lot of years of experience, lack of confidence does come up on the surface. For new doctors, confusion due to multiple and multidimensional, highly conceptual, abstract or at times speculative approaches. There is lack of consistency in results, poor documentation and lack of evidence, claims and complex, improportionate to the result. There is a wide gap in preaching and practice, limited resources, particularly in the inner area of India, technical and financial and personals in teaching, and the merit of students. See, sometimes students are admitted at a percentage of 35%. So sometimes that makes a very poor resource for students to come up on the surface of a high level of homeopathic practice. Non-availability of required medicine and potency. These are all the problems which we face as far as education is concerned. Doubtful quality of medicines, authenticity in dispensing exact medicines, rat race for high position and ambition amongst the homeopathic doctors. How to overcome all these problems that we are facing in the education, right from the teaching to the level of practice to the level of resources, and so many problems. So the resolution, please move this window away from shared application. I don't know why it is, now it is moving. Okay. So the resolution case, students must be admitted not less than 85% in pre-medical examination. The most important thing is to build up the homeopathic character and culture, mind well, homeopathic character and culture of every student, so that at the end of the training program, he is full of confidence in practice. Training to develop how to train these students. Now I'm getting once. Training to develop the character, and this is constantly coming. Okay. Training to develop the character and the culture of aphorism, according to aphorism number 285 and footnote. Please read this. This gives you the character and culture of physician to be developed or evolved. Training and evolving the quality of students and doctors according to aphorism number 6 and 83. Sound senses, alertness, attentiveness, and unprejudiced in observation and fidelity in tracing the disease. It is only after this, mind well, unless these characters are not developed in the physician, in the student, you cannot expect a homeopathic student to practice with confidence as soon as he passes. It's only after this engraved knowledge he becomes fit to undergo the further medical studies. Medical study must integrate philosophy, psychology, miasm, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, normal, abnormal, morbid susceptibility, and reflections of all the above topics must be demonstrated in organon and materia medica. Mind well, this is very important. All these subjects must be reflected when you are training. In order to achieve the above objectives and a complete detailed plan we have made in our institution, where right from day one as the student enters the college, day 1 to 5 years or 4.5 years of training program, weekly, monthly and yearly program is designed so that they are able to understand the integrated way of training. Like the training may start with organon as a first lecture, followed by anatomy, physiology, biology in first year, combined together, and then materia medica, and then pharmacy, etc. This the whole program has been made. If anybody wants, I can circulate. As far as teachers are concerned, building up homeopathic aura and dedication in teachers. Mind well, it's aura in homeopathic institution. When we were student in our college, our teachers used to always talk out about the personality of the drugs or organon aphorisms constantly, even when we are in corridor and talking, and even the students used to discuss the things. And in OPD, only homeopathy. There were no so-called specialized OPD like clinical medicine or gynec or something like that. And that made a very great difference in our understanding of homeopathy. Now, to create the environment in the institution, and they should become the chief and most reliable support for the students to elevate their confidence. Utilizing the modern technology in training program, evolving the logical, rational thinking process of the students rather than imposing the informations. Now, what I am talking is already devised and planned, mind well. Everything, every homeopathic teacher of any department, this is very important. Every homeopathic teacher of any department must be in position to demonstrate the reflection of organon and HMM in every subject and cases in OPD and IPD. This is the core of the training program. Teaching homeopathic materia medica in line of organon. For example, Netramure. What are the acute aspects of Netramure? What are the pathological aspects of Netramure? What are the psychological aspects of Netramure? Like that. That means in which one-sided disease Netramure is useful, in which local maladies Netramure is useful, like that. Training fundamentals only. Grasping and applying principles of individualization, susceptible constitution, and principle of similia. Thinking process from facts to concept and patient to materia medica, and not vice versa. Presently, we find that people are practicing only on concepts. They forget ground level, what you call as indications of the drug, and they just go on and on in a very big way to prescribe drug only on concepts, and therefore they find a lot of failures in that. Repertorization and treating at least 100 cases with repertory. We could grasp materia medica because we repertorize the case. But nowadays repertorization has become very simple. At the same time complicated because so many repertorization have come in the market, and so many different ways they are having a way of repertorization, sometimes away from the fundamental principles of repertorization. Now, after going through all these processes, then only student can learn various webinars like Mission 5000, where one can learn to choose right approach for his cases for so many approaches. Because once you are exposed to large number of seminars during college time, you get confused. And that is why I told you the confusion is becomes a main obstacle in development of homeopathic education. Homeopathic education and research, that is where we are having the activities, imparts this exhaustive training along with transactional and longitudinal, logical and chronological analysis of every case from beginning to the end of treatment. This is a very specialized way of training, which we can discuss only when we have a direct communication with each other as far as education is concerned. What is our vision? The vision is standardized, global and universal education system. Universal degree of PG, UG and PhD in homeopathy. License to practice anywhere in the world if there is one universal education system and university and a global homeopathic education system. One world, one homeopathy, one education system, unity in diversity. The whole problem we are facing today is that we have made ourselves a use of technology so much that we are not able to come down to the earth level and understand the fundamental aspects of materia medica and organon. Organon and materia medica has to be studied together. They cannot be separated. What is there? Materia medica is giving you idea about the totality of symptoms, what to prescribe in a case, only that much. But how to prescribe, how to select the potency, in which condition you will give acute drug, in which condition you will give chronic drug, in which condition the psychiatric aspects you are going to utilize for prescription. All these things are given only in organon. So unless we don't correlate organon and materia medica as a part of practice, probably will be failure. There is a wrong concept that if your drug is right, you give any potency, you give any repetition, everything will be okay. No, that is wrong. Absolutely wrong. You refer to 75 aphorism where he says it is not only the right medicine, but the right potency and right repetition. So, in other words, the organon-based materia medica and organon-based prescription and organon-based practice only will make our students to have tremendous confidence in the treatment of various cases. After treating the case, whether it is cured or not cured or palliated, it is inevitable that every case must be looked retrospectively to understand where one makes mistake. That is known as case concept way of learning, in which I try to look my actions.
Sir. Actually,
Yeah.
The time has already finished.
Okay,
So
okay,
can
okay.
you please wrap up in the next?
Because I don't see time here, therefore
Yeah,
I'm
sir,
going.
it's long back finished.
Okay. So, in other words, what I mean is that we must remain to the fundamentals rather than going into a highly conceptual way of practice, and do not be so much technologically dependent on practice. Have your vision, have your understanding only at the level of patient one-to-one. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta, for sharing your pearls of wisdom with all of us today.
Mm.
And I would like to know if any of the panelists have any questions for sir, or we can take it later.
This subject probably will not have any question.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore Mehta.
Moving
Thank you
ahead,
for your inspiring inputs and the importance of sticking to the fundamentals of homeopathy in our curriculum. So, indeed, I hope you will share your thoughts with the new National Commission for Homeopathy, so they will definitely incorporate your suggestions. So.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks to all of you.
moving ahead, we have next in line Dr. Anna Gesterhofer from Germany. She would be speaking on e-learning, homeopathy for future generations.
Lecture pati.
Over to you, Dr. Anna.
10 minutes.
Do you see the slides move?
Yes, your slides are visible. You can please start.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a great honor to speak here, and thank you for this opportunity. It is calming to see homeopathy bloom in Asia, while it gets dried out more and more in its country of origin. My order is sharing our thoughts and activities about e-learning in Germany with you. My hope is to get in contact and maybe find an exchange with similar projects in other countries. It would be very good to find synergies. I present a work group on e-learning of WISHOM and Scientific Association for Homeopathy and the DZVHL, the German Association of Homeopathic Physicians. Today, students and young colleagues primarily obtain information through electronic media. E-learning as a supplement to the usual face-to-face teaching has even become more important as a result of the pandemic. E-learning is multimedia, multimodal, and interactive. The content can be developed precisely by an expert panel, so reliable, persistent, high quality is ensured. And what's also very important today, it is saving resources, time and money, and staff capacity. Public information about homeopathy in Europe is very one-sided. As a matter of this...
sorry to interrupt you, ma'am, but your slide is not visible. I mean, we can see the only the first slide of your presentation.
I share it again. Now you see it, yeah?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay,
Thank
you. Thank you for this advice. Public information about homeopathy in Europe is very one-sided. And as a matter of this, there are very few young people deciding to learn homeopathy nowadays. It is essential to give medical students and other healthcare professionals the opportunity to understand what homeopathy really is, and they should be enabled to receive high-quality training so that they can practice the method safely and successfully. Recent research findings in homeopathy has to be implemented into practice. Interest can be aroused so that the similar law, potentation, symptom shift, etc. hopefully becomes a subject of future research. Especially the latter is not only important for homeopathy, but for medical science in general. The best possible quality can be achieved with the cooperation of several experienced homeopaths. First, chapters, questionnaires, or script texts for the e-learning are drafted based on widely accepted textbooks and then sent to a larger group of colleagues for revision. The content optimized in this way is then implemented into the media. A test group of students and young colleagues then checks the materials. The aim is to develop a final version that is as appealing and as easy to understand as possible. Let me now present you our different projects. Some already finalized, some in progress, and some planned to be developed in future. We have online offers on the one hand and offers for blended learning on the other. Blended learning means e-learning supporting face-to-face teaching. First, we have a look at our online offers. The online learning programs, Basic Knowledge Homeopathy, Expert Knowledge Homeopathy, connected to the Materia Medica video project, and the online lexicon. These offers are available online anywhere and at any time, so it can be used individually. Already online is our online learning program for beginners, for people not knowing homeopathy at all. We call it Basic Knowledge Homeopathy. The approximately 3 hours course is available to everyone free of charge on the internet. 3 hours, 11 chapters, basics, practical examples, and research. It is now also available in Dutch. An English version is planned. Next, we plan to develop a program to support people becoming homeopaths. We call it Expert Knowledge Homeopathy. This course is intended to summarize all the teaching content relevant for homeopathic training in a well-structured manner and thus facilitate the preparation for the final exam. We want to provide profound expertise. We want to give an overview. Homeopathy is very diverse nowadays, and we want to give a practical guide to manage this labyrinth. We want to help beginners to get used to documentation standards, and we want to implement critical effect assessment as a necessary requirement for good quality of homeopathic practice. The texts in the email programs, in the e-learning programs have to be short and focused, so homeopathic terms like remedy relationship, for example, will be linked to an online homeopathy lexicon, where every term will be explained in detail and source-based. Besides the lexicon, a further add-on to Expert Knowledge Homeopathy is the MVP, the Materia Medica video project. An offer of short educational films on the 40 drugs classified as mandatory in the curriculum. Each film is 7 minutes, short introduction, characteristics of remedy, case report as an example for the successful use for the remedy, and the summary. There will be multiple choice questions on the films included in Expert Knowledge Homeopathy to help students memorize the remedy characteristics in a playful way. Maybe the most important project, but not yet realized, is the online lexicon homeopathy. Technical terms that are used in homeopathy, especially in teaching, must be formulated as distinct as possible. It is really poor. We have so many terms with no clear definitions. Just think of the term miasma. The only thing that's clear about this term is that it's outdated and obsolete term in general, and it has several different meanings in homeopathy, depending on whose book you read. An online lexicon offers the opportunity to describe and point out these inconsistencies. For some of our terms, an overview of our historic sources has to be given to help to understand the context. This could be a good basis to find an agreement for distinct definitions of our terms in future. Only for the sake of completeness, here something about our work on blinded learning projects. I will shift that because the time is over. And I now want to say very similar to people who said the same word before me from other countries, so I let that go. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anna, for sharing the various programs available for homeopathic learning in Germany. Moving ahead to the next speaker. If we have any queries or questions, Dr. Anna, we'll have it in the last part of the session. So moving ahead, we have the next speaker, Dr. Hardik S. Khamar, who's a professor at Dr. V.H. Dave Homeopathic Medical College, Ahmedabad, India. The topic of his presentation is the pedagogical perspectives in postgraduate homeopathic education, experience and outcomes. Over to you, Dr. Hardik.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are in the part of the globe. So the topic is a bit atypical. It's a pedagogical perspectives in postgraduate homeopathic education. I will be sharing the experience and outcomes about the research, educational research, what we did in our college. So pedagogy is not a familiar term among us as a homeopath. Basically, the simplest meaning of it is the act of teaching. If teaching is act of encouraging learning activities or discovery as an acquired knowledge, pedagogy is a method of teaching, both as an academic subject or a theoretical subject. Here, exactly the students as an agent and teacher merely becomes a facilitator rather than a one-way living. And educational system is strongly based on performance. So let us brainstorm something about the existing structure of pedagogy in medical education. Pedagogy very well exists in design schools worldwide. In Germany, there is a Bohos movement. In India, a lot of design schools and management schools are teaching through pedagogic methods, but it is grossly missing in medical education. Strong reasons, strongly medical education, particularly PG, are overburdened by the exams, clinical work, and also there is a lot of mental health issues because of the overwork, and there is risk of being burned out. How we can prevent it? How we can prevent the cynicism and despair? It can be characterized by companionship and conversation. Now let us shift our gear to existence of pedagogy in homeopathy education. It is a lesser known word in our system. Educators are mainly focusing on the clinical teachings as and when required. Again, the system is mainly exam based, and the major outcomes are grossly absent. The feedback system, students participation is many times not at all included in the evaluation. Research based learning and referencing other materials and discussing in them is often missed out. A self generative attitude is also sometimes not acknowledged. Regular training programs are conducted, but they are not appropriate according to the framework. So the problem which we identified is to evolve the learning by doing culture in PG education in our college, and to help the students to anticipate the future problems and equip them with the appropriate responses and solutions. So effective pedagogies are inclusive and often take the diverse need of all the learners as well as students' equality. So we try to focus on the application of pedagogic methods, and we try to see the impact on students after a period of time. So there were certain challenges which we had. The first challenge, short-term challenge with the PG students come from all over the India. So there was a lot of diversity, diverse background of learning. Students having different subjects, we have to put them into one line. That was a challenge. Existing system is very much exam oriented. Collaborations and cooperations are missing, and adoption to new form of learning, that itself could be a challenge which we felt through. The longer term challenge would be getting feedbacks, completing assignments, self generative approach versus cynicism from the students, collective effort from the other faculties, comparison with the previous methods of learning, maintaining enthusiasm. So this was also a challenge. And mainly the focus on PG education is completion of the syllabus and exams. So we had to include this all things, and we have to face this challenge, and we have to implement pedagogic method of the system. So the methodology what we applied is, you know, that mainly we followed the flipped classroom technique during the all sessions. We include discussions, case-based approach, presentations, exhibits, discussion, modeling, interaction, facilitation, debating, all in form of a flipped classroom technique. I will come to flipped classroom technique at the end. What we did, we all the topics were brainstormed with the students and were executed accordingly. So we followed the syllabus, but then we moved according to the students and facilitators was brainstorming. So it was very much organic rather than static and monologue. Students received immediate feedback on that work based on their efforts, so that they can remain attuned to their progress, and they are again motivated to do the next work. Assessment and evaluation of the student regularly done. Every 3 months, evaluation and assessment done, and next goals were formulated. And we also circulated a Google form questionnaire every 3 months, and so that we can evaluate. I am just sharing a sample of that Google form so that we can get a continuous feedback from the student. This is a sample of the Google form we circulated to get the feedback. So this is how we implemented the study. We did a lot of brainstorming. We interviewed the students, deciding on the topics to be covered and assigning works, forming team, monthly planning for evaluation and completing and fulfilling the gaps, and something new emerging of we'll again implement. I said we are very much organic in doing that. Week to week execution and interviewing as and when necessary. Serially, Google evaluation form, creating students and co-leaders, and presentation by the students in the respective projects. And again, feedback given by the teachers and the peers. So this is some interesting data which came up from the Google form, which we circulated. So we circulated the form which had, your existing way of learning. So mostly all students shared about the lectures were theoretical based or attending clay days, group discussions, journal reading, and syllabus pattern. We also started asked them to rate the quality of their previous sessions. And, we also asked them, which of the methods in pedagogy they were liking most. So these were some results which came up. I will just sum up, and I will just go to, like students came up with mind mapping techniques. They started, every lecture doing with mind mapping, and they come up with very new methods of learning. What was the impact of this whole study? Students could distinguish between the regular mode versus the pedagogy methods. Students collaborated, actively participated in discussions, and engaged in new forms of learning. During the process, students started critically and constructively debating with each other. Library usage increased manifold. This was something which was grossly missing before. Newer techniques like mind mapping were used. Clinical skills sharpened. Reading and discussion of the diversified topic other than the syllabus widely increased. They feel challenged and supported to come up with original and innovative ideas. In a nutshell, if you look at the implementation of pedagogy in homeopathy education, we can, solve the issue of diversity of educational background with pedagogy application. Students get a platform to participate freely. Flipped classroom technique enabled them to come to the class with a prior and extensive reading of the topic, and during the session, faculty was more like a facilitator and even elevated the level of discussion. Students are often surprised, what they learn about themselves from these techniques. The approach was very, very flexible, and changes were made as and when necessary. As I said, design and management schools usually follow pedagogic methodology. Application of pedagogic methodology is grossly missing in homeopathic teachings. To name a few, something like electives is very much missing. Electives is something like a student select a particular topic which he want to learn, and workshops are conducted according to them, and evaluations are made according to them. So electives are often missing. Student exchange programs are missing. If properly implemented, a lot of positive outcomes can be achieved, and learning process can be made productive. And the direct outcome of pedagogic strategies is higher standard of education, which eventually transforms homeopathy clinically also, and academically also. So these are some of the one of the article which I took where effective pedagogies were mentioned, the British, one of the British research. So the references I have taken, and I am so much thankful to my undergraduate and postgraduate students, staff, and faculties of Dr. VSW Homeopathic Medical College, Anand. Thank you so much. That was my presentation. And the one word for pedagogy, I would like to say that learning to change, and it's a method where we learn by doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hardik. Thank you for sharing this pedagogical perspective for the benefit of students of homeopathy. And these methods do seem promising. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And now I would like to ask the panelists if they have any questions to be asked.
Thank you, Dr. Hardik. Thank you for that excellent presentation.
Thank you.
And thanks for incorporating the pedagogical techniques in postgraduate curriculum. And this type of techniques will indeed improve the quality of our PG education, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Moving ahead, next we have Dr. Bhavik Ramesh Parekh, who's an assistant professor at Dr. M.L. Dhavle Memorial Homeopathic Institution, Palagar, Maharashtra, India. And he would be speaking on mind mapping as an innovative means to master materia medica. Over to you, Dr. Bhavik.
Thanks a lot. Am I audible?
You're audible and your screen is visible too.
Thank you. Greetings to all the greetings to the chair, the panelists, and the speakers, and all the attendees. My topic for today is mind mapping as an innovative means to master materia medica. So, what is the background that I would like to we would like to understand in teaching materia medica? There are around 240 remedies which are taught in UG syllabus. Most of the times we learn by rote. There's no conceptual framework. No? It's like you have to just mug up the remedies and just present it into the paper or in the viva. All this leads to information overload, and for me, the drugs appeared very similar, causing a lot of confusion. And I was genuinely not able to apply in practice, neither able to enjoy it. So, is there any method by which we can make this subject more interesting, and we can should be better applicable? So, are there ways which our minds work, and which can be used to make this study of materia medica more interesting? So, let us see how our mind works. So, our mind works by perceiving information, understanding it, evaluating it. No, how do you understand and evaluate is to integrate the past with the present. How you evaluate, you create a meaning and the significance of the experience, and this is stored in our mind in the form of a symbol or a concept, not in terms of a detailed experience. Now, so suppose if I say a mango, for example, when you hear the word mango, what comes to your mind? So does it come to your mind that a mango is a fruit produced from numerous species of tropical trees belonging to flowering plant, or the image of a mango comes? A mango, the shape of the mango, the color of the mango, the taste of the mango. So that is how our mind is trained to work. It's not by which we just details of the work that the another way by which the mind works is concept of radiant thinking. It works by connection and association. It is not just one input that comes. It relates one input to the another input and tries to connect. Another way is that how can we maximize the use of the mind? So there are right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. By the right hemisphere is concerned with feelings, imagination, intuition. The left hemisphere is more concerned. The right hemisphere is more concerned with the thinking, sequencing, mathematics, facts, and logic. So whether the mind thinks in this way in terms of paragraph, sentences, black and white text, or keywords, images, colors, associations, and connections, it's more the latter way. So this all these concepts are introduced into the mind mapping. So a mind map is a visual diagram to organize information. So it is designed in a way where it's like a neuron, there where the various connections are there. The diagram represents a central nucleus, the dendrites as the primary themes, and the axons which are related to the primary themes. So what we did this research project on our PG students. 6 PG students were first taught in the traditional way and assessed, and then the mind map was introduced, and they were again assessed. So no, these are the changes that we saw. The candidate one showed an improvement of around 7.33% compared to the traditional way of teaching. The candidate 2 did not show any significant change. Candidate 3 showed a significant change of 6.5% over conventional teaching. Candidate 2, if you see, had not improved in the first two aspects, but when we went into the third, there was a tremendous improvement in him. Candidate 5 showed a 20% improvement over the traditional method, and candidate 6 showed an improvement of around 11.66%. So then these are the couples of examples that when we are doing this project, see how the calculus remedy is taught and how it can be organized in a way where which you can understand the connections. See, if you see one side the toxicology, you see how the toxicology connects with sphere of action and the pathology. So, in one slide, we are able to visualize how these the connections are. You are able to make significance of these connections. Now, the same way which I try to organize this presentation in form of a mind map. So, what is my aim? To enhance learning of Materia Medica to higher levels of cognitive domain with the help of mind mapping. So, I have this introduction plan where there are what is the background. It's difficult to teach, and what concepts can you use to teach Materia Medica? What are the methods that I used? So these are the methods that I used, the results that were produced, the few examples from the experiment that was done by the these are the mind maps created during the session by the students, and the final important points that the students had written at the end of the session. It is. So there is an innovative teaching. It is exercise of our brain. It enhances creativity. It makes us understand the remedy and the patient. Connections and correlations are possible, and a synthesis is achieved. And since we are actively involved in doing the mind map, so our mind remains active during the session. Otherwise, during the lecture, it happens that there is attention span of 10 to 15 minutes, and then the entire lecture goes on top of your head. So this is another example. So what was the conclusion at the end of this was that 5 out of 6 students showed significant improvement in the way they perceive the remedy when it was taught to mind mapping compared to being taught in the traditional way. The subjective experience of the students was also enhanced, which suggested that this method generated interest, enhanced creativity, and helped in better synthesis through connections, correlations in a graphical way. And many students also use pictures, diagrams to convey the meaning of what they have learned. So finally, mind mapping aids the mind to learn in a holistic way rather than working against it. It makes learning an enjoyable process using images, colors, connections, association, and enhances synthesis and creativity. And it also helps to organize concepts and connections more readily, taking learning to more higher levels of cognitive domain. I'm very much thankful to our faculty at Palghar and also the LMHI faculty for allowing this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Parekh, for the lucid presentation. And actually, it's a very good way of remembering and recalling information becomes a lot easy with the mind mapping technique. And it's a good that it's being introduced into homeopathic Materia Medica as well. So I would like to ask the panelists if we have any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Vivek, for the presentation. So could you tell me, did you use any digital platform methods?
Actually, sir, currently we used on pen and paper with different color pens and all that. But I know there are apps available, and also we can use. So that may be the next step that we may take. We were not very savvy and currently in the digital field, so we will be taking up that ahead.
Because of the COVID, for the last 2 years, the teaching is I mean in the online mode only, and in between there are some physical offline classes are also held.
Yeah.
So if you incorporate this the use of digital platform more, and it will be more interesting and user friendly to the students.
Yes, sir, yes, definitely.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello, can I say something?
Yes, Dr. Mehta.
Dr. Parekh, what is the difference between what we were making structuralization of the various drugs which are there in Atlas, and now that you have represented this method of training? Is there any similarity, or it is on the same basis but in a different way? And I
Yes, sir.
personally feel after listening to your lecture that if the structuralization and your method of putting up the drug, if we are able to combine it, will it help?
Absolutely, sir. You hit the nail on the head. The Atlas structuralization charts, as a student, when I was reading, I found it difficult to understand.
And
But now, when I am reading it,
yes,
when I went through this, I really find it no, lot of information connections are available, and it just enhances the understanding of the particular remedy. So now when I go back to that Atlas charts, I really am really amazed at what Sir has created.
right, right. And in fact, we make structures of patient first and then try to compare with the structure of materia medica.
Yes, sir. In that way, living materia medica also can be, really
Yes,
fantastically understood by this
yes.
method.
Okay, thank you very much. Very
Thank you
nice.
so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta, and thank you, Dr. Parekh. Next, I would like to invite upon Dr. Prabhakar Devadiga. He's from Maharashtra, India, and the topic for discussion is tweaking the syllabus and curriculum for better acceptance of homeopathy in masses. Dr. Prabhakar.
Can my screen be seen?
Yeah, it's seen. You may please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My topic today is tweaking the syllabus and curriculum for better acceptance of homeopathy in masses. And this topic actually belongs to all the teachers in our college, but because we cannot put all the names, only 3 names of the department has been put. Myself, Dr. Nimish Mehta, and Dr. Jayesh Dingrej of Organon department from our college. What we do when the patient students come in the first year, we take an initial survey, especially in the Organon lecture when we teach the first Roberts chapter, what homeopathy has to give to the young people. So when I take this, everybody wants to be a doctor, everybody wants to be a homeopathic doctor, most of them wants to be a famous doctor, and everybody wants to survey humanity. So I keep that, and I have a habit of keeping that. And after that, when we did the survey in the final year during the internship, this was the result. Not very clear about the future, wants to go for higher studies, which is very good, wants to change the stream, that means they would want to go into public health or something else. And there was merely a 5 to 10% people who were very confident that we want to practice homeopathy. Now, priding ourselves being good teachers and a good institute, which one of the prime institute of India, it was very difficult for us to understand. We went back to the syllabus. Before that, we asked them, why you people do not want to practice homeopathy? The answer which they told was very clear, that most of them, they said the waiting period for earning money is too long. We need immediate income, and we are not confident of maintaining ourselves. Please understand. Only 5% of the students told that not clear on homeopathic fundamentals. So we were teaching well, but there was something which was blocking. We went through the syllabus. Purpose of the syllabus is making student confident homeopath. Salient features of our CCH and MHS syllabus is OPD and IPD terms for students, rotational 1-year OPD and IPD for interns, cases to be solved in the journals, and that cases solved to 280 cases. So each student solves 280 cases. So if everybody has to solve 280 cases, why are they not confident of practicing? Right? And there are mandatory case presentation of 4th year BHMS and interns. This is what the syllabus states as of today. So very good syllabus, I would say. Other avenues of learning nowadays, we have got fellowship, webinars, courses, free webinars, And we have some of the good Samaritans who want Mission 5000, good homeopaths. So they want to do that. But we decided, what do we do? Ours is an undergraduate college. What do we do? So during the brainstorming session, one of our senior teacher, Dr. Nimish Shukla, head of the Department of Medicine, he came up with an idea that why we do not have hands-on learning cases. We named them HOT patients, hands-on training, HOT cases, hot cases. The process is, we had this survey, then we went to the survey, then hot cases learning, and we kickstart the practice. The idea was to reduce the time taken for setting up the practice. So what did we do? We oriented the students that we wanted them to start taking the cases around them nearby, and we want them to take cases of their relatives, friends, everybody, bring it to the post. And that started from the second year onwards, because now it is their personal stake. Their difficulties was, how will we understand? We do not know everything about medicine. We said we are there. And no, all the teachers really helped them. They motivated the students. We put a standard operating procedure in the OPD to take out the case paper, how to enter, and the program was placed. So there was no difficulty for the students to get the case paper, enter it, and bring it back to the teachers. And they get the medicine free of cost to give it to their patients. The patients are, they have to come. In the case they are not able to come, there could be teleconsulting, or the patient's medicine can be taken by the students to reach that. Now, most of the students who are from outside, we started that they got cases in their own areas. And the statistics you will be surprised to see. In the 2015, we have started this 2475, 2016 it went up to 3054, 2017 it was slightly less. 2018 it started increasing again more, because when each one started seeing, they brought more patients. 2019 we had 6,285. 2020 and 2021, because of COVID, we had a downslide. But this is the statistics as of today till November 30, 2021. We still have 1 month to go. So this is the statistics. And you know, the total new cases brought in by such HOT cases were 24,095 cases. And most of the patients who were taken did not have any idea about homeopathy. So that's very important, that we are making inroads into people. And these many ready-made cases, this was voluntary, no, not mandatory, but this was used for mandatory case presentations. And the beauty of this case presentation was that people got confident in presenting. When students were presenting, each one was getting very much impressed, and everybody wanted to do this. And that's how the things went ahead. The outcome was the students were learning. There is a lot of things which I cannot tell just now, but outcome was scope of homeopathy was learned very well by the student. And this is hands-on training. Communication skills, they developed very well to maintain their patients, talk to them about the disease, etc. Practical organon, materia medica, and allied subjects were learning, because the patients is their own, their stake is there. And they also are learning good presentation skills. Learning about susceptibility, posology, remediation goes without saying. Confidence in prescribing and management of cases so beautifully that in this COVID, most of my students were third year, fourth year, and interns were taking cases of COVID. We had seen thousands of cases of COVID, and they were seeing when they were not able to come to the college. Finally, in the last 2 years, the confidence of managing cases and practicing homeopathy is way better. It helped them managing COVID cases both during the first and second waves. One of the case which I am trying to show you is of mucormycosis taken by the fourth year student. And the result, you can see, where the patient was told operating, removing the orbit, the patient is completely all right. And second interesting case, which happened only recently in 20th October, the student was in Iran, he had gone to Iran, treated a case of burns in the whole of intestine. The patient was told that they have to remove the whole esophagus till the duodenum, and the patient, if survives, will be done. On 25th, after giving only cantharis, this is the result in 5 days. She not only saved the patient, she not only saved the whole GIT being operated and removed. That is what I say, that homeopathy being taken to masses. What I'm trying to say is the syllabus is already there. We need to tweak it so that the students make it very important that they should be the partner of this, and they should be doing that. Similarly, now we are in the process of tweaking case presentation, drug proving, public outreach. We are working on that. That presentation I am not able to do just now. This is what I have to say, that if you all put an effort, and something more is this, that this can be put somewhere on the websites. Now I learned that we can put on the websites of Central Council, etc., what is now National Council. So definitely it is going to be useful, and the students are going to be more benefited because their presence in the social media will be much better. So I understand that our small effort in this, with all the teachers from the college and the support from our management, especially Dr. Mohanbhai Patel, Asmita Parekh, and our principal, we are able to do that. And that is what small thing which I wanted to share with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhakar, for the presentation and for bringing out the practical ways in which you people have been teaching at the Institute. That's really commendable. Now I would like to ask the panelists if they have any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhakar, for this very interesting presentation. Hope this will be adopted by other colleges as well, and that will definitely greatly improve the standard of education.
Thank you.
And is there any questions?
Request Dr. Thankraj to give the concluding remarks for the session.
Thank you, Dr. Cheshta. Well-organized homeopathic education is the need of understanding homeopathy, gaining its skills, and the training to become a successful homeopath. Our panel of speakers has reiterated the need of a better homeopathic education that helps in decision making and ultimately improving the clinical care. So this is one of the most articulate and well-researched discussion, and this is needed. Interaction with educators in this field is needed so that we can formulate some successful policy initiative that will help the government to implement for the improvement of homeopathic education. And I thank LMHI for including such a nice session in this colloquium. I extend my gratitude to all the speakers for their presence and enlightening us on various aspects of homeopathic education and research. And I thank Dr. Cheshta for anchoring the session, and Dr. Srishti and Dr. Gauri, our coordinators, for coordinating everything at the backstage and ensuring a flow section. I request our hall managers to make a group photograph. I request all the panelists to open their video.
Yes, sir. Please, everyone, just switch on their camera so that we can have a nice group picture.
In 3. Thank you. It's done.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Once again, stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we all can join for the closing ceremony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you all. Thank you, chairpersons and the speakers of the session.
Are we ending the session now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can.
Can I leave now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can leave this session and then join for the valedictory, sir.
Sorry?
Valedictory.
Oh,
yes, you can join for the valedictory.
What time?
Sir, 6:30 to 7:30 in hall 1.
No.
Today?
Thank you.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you. So we can leave for some time.
Yes, sir. You
Yes,
can
sir.
take rest and then come back again.
Rest. क्या काम किया है तो rest करेगा.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You have
sir.
worked. I have not worked.
So your presence is, priceless to us. So thank you.
चलो ठीक है. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So I leave for.
Thank you, Cheshta ma'am. Thank you, Tankraj sir. Thank you, Surbi. for being such a wonderful host.
Thank you so
Srishti,
much. Thank
for
you,
everything.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for being here. Let's see you in Hall 1 now. Okay.
Yeah.